Karina here, and happy blessed Friday! Yay! I'm so excited because it's sunny, it's not too hot. I had a nice walk alone in quiet and peace with Christ. Really just thinking about the week and just being able to just clear my mind from everything and being able to have my focus, and also being able to hear what God wants me to do, which song to do today. So I highly recommend you go check out my music cover, which if you have not already checked it out. And it was quite the challenge, I have to admit. It was not a song that was in my comfort zone, but I really wanted to exercise within myself to go outside of my comfort zone and to go outside of my comfort zone for Christ. It's not for myself, but it's for Christ. And also as well, it was a really challenge to stretch the vocal cords. So it's a win-win at the end of the day, because over time, for soprano vocalists, it tends to, in order for you to have your solidified high notes, you have to reach it, but you gotta be able to get used to it. So it was a win-win. I'm glad, praise God that he led me to that song today. And so therefore, in correlation to you, whenever God permits any challenges or any call within your heart to go outside of your comfort zone in different times of your life, just go and see where it will take you. That's one thing that I learned that I really want to share with you guys, because for me, I tend to stay within my comfort zone when it comes to singing. But during this quarantine, I've been very iffy about stepping outside that boat, but I'm just no, time is now. I'm not wasting anymore. I've already extras all the songs that I could possibly think of from top of my mind, but that song was just buried deep, because I used to be singing it years ago, back in 2016, but then it just got buried by new songs over the last year. So that's why, I'm really happy and grateful that God was plop, just plopped in my mind. So I'm just okay, God, there's a reason why you plopped this in my mind today. So out of all days, today. So I'm just okay, it's right before the weekend of Corpus Christi, so I'm just even more so. It's making it extra special. So with that said, thank you so much for being here, spending time with me, for Christ and for God. And really, I just want to emphasize the fact that, just be out there for Christ. Not be afraid. Don't be afraid. Don't be hesitant when it comes to new challenges and new journeys that God permits in your life or opens up for you in your life. Don't be no, it's okay. No, literally just let go and let God. And you will see the wonderful miracle God will work within you. And it will literally go beyond your human comprehension. You'll be whoa, I did not see that coming. And it's true. Literally, when I look back in my life, there's so many changes that I have, I did not see coming. And it was through people that I've changed as well. And I've yet to see what more crosses and what more trials and what more tribulations and what more changes and transformation that I've yet to endure in my life. So far it's been, tough at times, but now that I look back, it's for the best. And I'm grateful and happy that God permitted that in my life. And so should you. When God permits different struggles, battles, troubles, whatnot, embrace it. Embrace it with love for God and take it from there, because He will bless you with greatness and with graces. GG. Greatness and graces. GG for God. I like doing little acronyms for so it's easy to remember. So with that said, again, thank you. My prayers will continually be with you and your family. I know it's social distancing, but we're getting there, because today officially, I'm not to 24, but 10 people, and we're allowed to hug. So I'm woohoo, there we go, we're getting there. So July, here I come. July, August, here I come. And hopefully we will all be able to hug each other officially. So with that said, and as I always love to say before I start a top video, let's get started. Talk to you guys about confidence in God's mercy. Confidence in God's mercy. Yep. Because really, as our life is coming back to its normal course, right? We have to continue on with our firm trust and our firm confidence and our firm faith and hope in God. Because really, again, as I always love to say in all my videos, it's God's timing. God's perfect timing that always, always, always exceeds our own expectations and exceeds our own time. You know, because the more we are humble in the eyes of God, right? He will bless us more and more with love and mercy and grace for each and every one of us. Because you already know very well that God can see you through your heart and in your mind and in your soul, and can see the potential you can be, you know, being a true warrior for Christ and doing that in the best manner that you can be, maximizing your talent, your skill, your gift, everything. Yes, it will come with hardships. Yes, it will come with tough times. Yes, it will come with tribulations and trials here and there. But it's just a matter of our unconditional yes. That you know very well by now. The unconditional yes, that it's us to just say to God, okay, you know very well I love you. And I know very well that you love me, and I know deep from my heart that you have the capability to enable me to become the true instrument you want me to be. So, just take my hands and take me there. And lead me and be with me every step of the way. And keep on reminding me that it's for your glory and not for the glory of myself. You know, exercising that act of humility is very important. Therefore, we always have to call upon our Blessed Mother Mary all the time, because she is the prime example, the prime divine example of that. And sometimes, yes, our ego and sense of pride can get to our heads when people shower you with all the compliments and, you know, how awesome you are. I mean, yes, you are awesome, but you are a creation of God. Therefore, you receive all that and then you transfer it up to God as your thank you and gratitude to God, to Himself. It's very important that we do that, because we can't allow the showers of compliments and the consolations of everyone else around us really get to our heads. It's really tempting. Really tempting, especially for music performers. If you are a music performer and you're watching this, watch out for the sense of pride, because it tends to really get to your head at times, especially. So that's why, you know, not only for music performers, but, you know, if you're a good speaker, you're a good talker, whatever you're good at, right? It applies to generically everything, but especially for performers, coming from a performer myself, you know, really it can get to your head. So that's why I always like to remind other performers as well, especially when they're performing for Christ, to not let it get to your head and to transfer that right away to God. You know, the enemy doesn't sleep, so therefore we have to keep awake. Like, literally, we have to keep awake. No joke. It's true. You know, keep your eyes open. Keep your guards up. Your spiritual guards up. Not like, you know, physically, but you know what I mean. Again, as a friendly reminder, it is a spiritual combat out there. And here, you know, anywhere. Like, you're, again, as I mentioned yesterday in my yesterday's talk video, which I highly go and recommend you go check out, it's legitimately a spiritual battle. No joke. Like, you're not safe anywhere. Even in the church, you are bound to come across the enemy like, knock, knock, hello. No, like, no joke. So that's what I'm saying. Like, we have to keep awake, be alert at all times, and know what are our trigger points, meaning our weaknesses, and what can actually throw us off astray from the pathway closer to Christ and the way of Christ, you know. Because with the enemy, that's very tempting for us to fall astray when it comes to the enemy hitting our weak points. You know, it's amazing and sad. Well, amazing in a mystery way, divine way, essentially, how, you know, just a simple, like, Hail Mary being said so fervently from deep from your heart can actually throw off the enemy just like that. Just like that. Because all of us are bound to come across times of heaviness in our heart. And for sure, that's the enemy being like lurking around, trying to find the perfect opportunity to be like, boop, like literally. So that's why I just want to make a point that we have to keep alert, be awake, know what our weaknesses are, and acknowledge it, and not to forget the 2 D's that the enemy loves to do to us. Fill us with that seed of doubt, D for doubt, and D for discouragement. It goes hand in hand. It starts with doubt, and then after that just merges into discouragement, thinking that, oh, you can't do it. No, you're not good enough. And then just like sinks in from there. Therefore, you know, before the seed can even grow into discouragement and despair and all that sad stuff, you call upon Our Lady right away. You get her. You go and get her, and she'll pull you out of there. But you have to do your part to actually mean it, what you're saying. You can't be like, yeah, Mary, like, no, you gotta say it from here. Because essentially, if you're not saying the Hail Mary properly, you're insulting her. Seriously. Like, if you don't say it properly, you are insulting her. So, if you're gonna say it properly. Don't just be like eating your words. It's true. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I was told that, so I want to share that with you guys. So therefore, when we say Hail Marys or Our Fathers, say it properly, and to not just eat our words and just like okay, you don't have to imagine my face, but I'm just saying, you know, just remember all the time that when you're doing the rosary, when you're doing the Divine Mercy Chaplet, or any of the awesome good stuff, prayers, what I mean by good stuff, prayers and everything, say it properly. Because you want our Blessed Mother Mary to be like, okay, my child, what can I help you with today, you know? And, you know, you don't want her to just be like, I'm sorry, what? No, not in that context, but you know what I mean. Like, you're very smart. I don't know who's watching them. I'm sure you're very smart. So really just remember to say it properly. That's all I want to emphasize. Also, when it comes to having confidence in God's mercy, like, we need to really acknowledge ourselves to be poor and vile and unworthy in the presence of God. Because, again, it's that act of humility, presenting to God that I'm not worthy of you and your love, but I trust in your mercy and your grace to make me better, to make me more worthy each day that you bless me with. Don't forget that. Therefore, know yourself. Know yourself by referring to the knowledge of your own unworthiness, misery, and imperfection. That acknowledgement of our unworthiness, our misery, and our imperfection is very important. Because knowing thyself, that's basically what it is. In the eyes of God, you have to acknowledge all of your imperfections, all the toxic, dead weight that just pulls you down and just prevents you from actually becoming better in the eyes of Christ, and actually just holding you back from doing things for Christ, you know, and making you have that hesitation that you're not good enough. Therefore, those insecurities, those worries, those fears, overcome that with the grace of God, and honestly, at the end of the day, you'll feel victorious for Christ. Therefore, when God permits those times and those opportunities for you to take on a new challenge in your life, because God can see that you've exceeded that challenge that God has permitted you before, that God has really given you before, really is what I'm saying. He wants to give you the next challenge so you can become better, right? So just for example, for today, like the song, like I was really like walking by myself, listening to a variety of other songs, other Christian songs, and then God was like, plop. And I was like, whoa. Okay. And I really contemplated and meditated on it to make sure, like, you know. So at first I was very hesitant. Very hesitant. But then I was like, nope, you know what? I'm going to be ambitious today. I'm going to be determined. I'm going to be overcoming this challenge. And it will be my new starting point from where I started back in April when I began music covers. You know, so that's why in correlation to you, when God knows that you've exceeded that growth from this specific journey, He will give you a next challenge for you to climb up that ladder to become better and maximizing your potential. Because it's constantly that ladder you're climbing closer and closer to Christ for you to actually become better and better and better. And for you to actually increase in your virtue more and more and more. So that's why I just always think about it. So when you have a thought that you're being led to do something brand new in your life, and it's literally like you feel it's of God, and you know, and you have that inner peace in your heart that you know it's of God, then just do it and trust in God, knowing that you can do it with His grace, with His power, with His strength, and you have nothing to fear. Nothing to fear. Because normally it's that new journey that we tend to be a little hesitant about, and we tend to just sit on it for a long time and just meditate on it too long, and then God's like, hello, any day now. Well, not in that context, but you know what I'm thinking. Like, the longer you let it wait, the longer God's gonna be like, hello, like, you're wasting time. Like, so that's why we can't be harsh on ourselves, but at the same time, though, we have to constantly keep ourselves on our toes so that we will be able to keep on growing. Like, all of us want to grow, right? Right? Like, we all want to grow in our skills and in our talents. So, therefore, when you really feel that passion in your heart for Christ to do something in particular, just go and see where God will truly lead you. I know a lot of times, again, there's going to be those dry periods where you're like, hello, God, where are you? There's a reason why that happens. That's another video, but I don't want to touch on that today because I want to focus on being confident in God's mercy today. So that's why I like having that greater knowledge of our own misery and our own imperfections is very important, because we have to present all of that to God and allow Him to discard that from our lives, and for God to replace that with love, mercy, grace, confidence, boldness, zeal, and all the good stuff in order for us to do our part and our mission for Christ. You know, because it's really important that we just take all of that nasty stuff away from ourselves spiritually, and to replace that only with God's love and mercy and the power and everything for us to endure. Really, like mercy and misery are so closely connected that one cannot be exercised without the other. Misery needs to be replaced with mercy, the mercy of God, so that we will overcome all our fears, overcome all of our temptations, overcome all of our weaknesses, to overcome all of our hesitations that we were so held back before, you know? And it's tough to let go of our past, but at the same time, though, when God plants something for you to do, that brand new journey of God's just like, my son and daughter, you have done well so far. So this is your new challenge, you know. Don't think of it like a game show, okay? No, God doesn't treat us like a game show. How God treats each and every one of us is just that love for each and every one of us to grow in our gifts, that he blessed us with so much love, because he doesn't want us to let that go to waste. And you clearly don't want God to remind you about you wasting your gift and your talent, right? Because the mistrust of ourselves proceeds from the knowledge of our imperfections. The mistrust of ourselves. Because we tend to really not trust ourselves at times in the hands of God. Yes, trust yourself, but in the hands of God. That's one thing that we tend to forget. Like, yes, you can trust yourself at times without God. Therefore, you're just following your own will. And that will just lead to self-destruction and falling into worldly, secular matters that are clearly will lead you to empty happiness. Empty happiness. And temporary happiness. So with that said, it's very important that we acknowledge our imperfections, acknowledge our misery, and to allow God to replace that with God's mercy instead. God's mercy and love is very important, because at times, it can be a little ugly, looking within yourself like, oh, cringe. That's how I was loved for, Yes, okay, looking within yourself, yes, we'll have those like ugly moments where you're just like, this is embarrassing. Yeah, like that's part of the whole pruning and the whole purification process. You need to be able to see your toxic part of yourself, the toxic parts of yourself, to be able to get rid of that and then replace that with God's mercy and love and power and everything. It's like pretty much, I'm not going there I lost the word. Analogies, there we go. Okay, brain fart, what's happening to me today? Okay, so it's like, with TV remote, right? You have a battery. Normally it's like a AA battery, right? And, if you have one good battery and you have a dead battery, the TV remote won't work, right? So you have to get rid of that dead one and then replace that with a brand new one, so you can actually use a TV remote, right? So therefore, in correlation to ourselves, yes, we have the good part of ourselves, being kind and merciful to others, but then there's always a part of us, because again, we're human and we're frail and we have weaknesses and whatnot. We have to be able to acknowledge that dead battery within ourselves and to discard that, give that to God to dispose of that, and for him to give you that brand new battery so you can really function and to really be that instrument for God. I don't know if that was the best example, but that was the first thing that just plopped in my mind, thanks be to God. And really, because I remember the struggle at times where I'm just like, why is the TV remote not, okay, not the phone, but just why the TV remote not working? And then I realized I used the battery tester and I'm like, oh, one's dead. No wonder it's not working. So I remember when I was a kid, I was really playing with the TV remote and I was like, Daddy, why is it not working? And the next it's just like, here, my child, one's dead and one's not. So really, just think about that. So therefore, really, we have to be able to acknowledge our daily faults and our infidelities. Yes, it will cause that shame and that embarrassment in the eyes of God, for sure. That's what confession's for. In that case, speaking of, now that churches are beginning to open, I'm praying that you'll be able to have that capability to do confession, because the fact that all of us have been away from being in the presence of Christ, God knows what we were all doing. I'm not pointing fingers, but, just look within yourself and acknowledge what your dead battery is. What you were really binging on during this time, what you could have done more for Christ, but instead wasted time on something else. Just really contemplate within yourself. Look within yourself during the last 3 months, March, April, May, June, almost July soon. That's 5 months. Like, yeah, like just remember it's already half the year. It's already June. It's not January where it's like Happy New Year. No, it's June. Well into June. It's already the middle of June. So that's why, just realize, like, from the beginning of this quarantine that we had no church to now, just ask yourself the question, what have you accomplished for Christ? And what have you binged away from Christ? Just contemplate on that question. And so, from that point on, you'll be able to really acknowledge your faults and your infidelities to Christ. Yes, again, I know it will cause that shame and embarrassment because it will make you realize, like, crap, I wasted time. But the fact that you acknowledge it and recognized it, you get up. You get up stronger and you know what to do next. Like the next day you open your eyes, you put Christ first. You put God first. Don't waste time. Because again, as I said, you don't know that day, that hour, that moment when God's going to call you back and be like, my son, my daughter, let's come home now. Let's go. No, not like that. But I'm just saying, you don't know. You don't know. Like, even I don't even know. Like, I'm trying my best, but so should you. But you can do it, though. You can do it. You have the fire of illumination in your heart. God blessed you with that fire of illumination in your heart from the moment of baptism. From the moment of baptism. So, don't think you don't have it. You do. You do. Because that's how much God loves you. He wants to really bless you with that fire of illumination for you to do your part and to do your Christian duty, to save as much souls there you can do. I mean, the first Christians, they did it and they laid their life down for that, for their own soul salvation's sake. So that's why it is a true purpose that we have to have that total surrender to God. That total surrender to God. Not for us to hold on to ourselves and our own will, but for us to actually have that full, total surrender to God, allowing Him to do what He wills for us. Yes, I know. Times of waiting, times of clouds of unknowing, will feel so unstable. But when you look back, when God blesses you with your answer that you've been fervently praying for the longest time, you'll be like laughing at yourself from how you were back then. You would have told yourself back then, be like, shh, don't complain. Shh, don't do that. And yeah, for sure, you're gonna look back and you're gonna see, you wish you could have told your previous self, to just shush up and just stay fervent and trusting God, what His plan is, and that's why, like, at times, yes, you'll have that time of withdrawal because, like, it's that tough, but therefore you have to try even harder. You have to try even harder and harder all the time. During those times of withdrawal, when you're like so close to giving up, use that moment to run to God and use that moment as an act of love and confidence right away. You're like, hey God, you know what? Just take me there. You know what? I'm done. I'm done with being stubborn and I'm done with just following what I want in my life. Now, just take me there because I know you will give me the best of the best. And you know that what I've been fervently praying for will come true according to your time, even though you may be so itchy to find out, So that's why we have to act confidently. English, what's happening to me? This is what happens when you're chatterbox and like you have so much thoughts here and it just side note. But really, that's going back to what I was saying, the act of being confident and acting at sorry. Acting confidently, regardless of what your feelings and regardless of what you're going through, is very important that we do for God. Act confidently. Act confidently, okay? Don't just act like putting on a show. No. I mean, really exercising that act of confidence. But not being an actor, though. Because, yes, like, you may be seeing people, but then, like, you know, they may think your life is all perfect, but really, you're enduring a lot of crosses. Right? So, therefore, yes, like, still show your love and grace and mercy towards your brothers and sisters in Christ. But at the same time, though, you have to be able to still endure whatever you're going through. You know, I'm not saying put on a facade and then pretend everything's okay. No, I'm not saying that. No. Like, still endure it. Still be genuine in front of those around you. But at the same time, though, you have to be able to know which one is actually the real you and which one is actually you pretending that everything's okay. Because really, when it comes to enduring your crosses, endure it with love and happiness. And especially their Blessed Mother Mary. Because enduring crosses with our Blessed Mother Mary makes it seem like you don't even have any crosses. I can attest to that. I can attest to that very much. Because really, we cannot forget her. Because really, when you have a bunch of crosses and you endure it with her, it may seem like in the eyes of others that you are like, wow, what does this person have? Like, why is that person so like bubbly and like woohoo? And like, I'm pretty sure she's going through something. Is this an act? You know, and really, it feels so much lighter. It feels like a feather floating in the sky with the wind. And even more so, you'll be blessed with that happiness, that joy, and that energy that you never thought you'd even have, even though you're going through so many crosses. So that's why, in all your crosses and trials and tribulations, endure it with our Blessed Mother Mary. Because she is the one that actually allows you to endure it with such inner peace and joy and happiness. But, you know, there's times when you feel a little off, because that's the enemy trying to make you doubt, to make you have your sense of distrust in God and our Blessed Mother Mary. So you will know right away it's the enemy when you always ask our Blessed Mother Mary to hold your hand all the time. Because you will feel so happy and joyous with your crosses, and then all of a sudden you feel heavy. Because that's the enemy trying to be like, get off. You know? So, but spiritually in your mind, though, is what I'm talking about. Not physically, but in your mind, right? So that's why we cannot allow our miseries and our infidelities to discourage us, because that will legitimately feed on for the enemy. Always remember that. I just want to close off with you guys with a last thought that, you know, the throne of God's mercy is our misery. The throne of God's mercy is our misery. Therefore, greater the misery, the greater should be our confidence. The greater the misery, the greater should be our confidence in God. You know, because we have to raise our hearts to God by holy confidence. We have to raise our hearts to God by holy confidence. So therefore, that holy confidence will be our foundation with God and not ourselves. That foundation with God and not ourselves. You know? So just remember all the time that the throne of God's mercy is our miseries. Therefore, the greater the misery, the greater should be our confidence. I know during this trial and tribulation of this quarantine or social distancing, whatnot, we will make it through. We will make it through. Just see the fact that churches are being reopened, and the fact that we are allowed to actually hug our family and friends of 10 people. You know, it's really happening. You know, and that's why, you know, just keep on looking up. Keep on looking up. Don't look down. Don't look down. Because that's where the enemy is. Really, don't look down. Always keep looking up. Because it will encourage you to have that confidence and that ambition to keep on striving to be like Christ, no matter what storms are surrounding you right in the second. Right? So it's very important that we don't let ourselves become exhausted, spiritually exhausted, and burned out. Because I know with God, it can be definitely a tug of war within yourself, that internal battle. But the reason why you're having that internal battle is because the enemy is trying to throw you off. So therefore, when you have that full surrender into God's hands, there won't be any internal battle, but rather just that purification of all those toxic part of yourself. Just that dead battery that needs to be taken out and replaced with a brand new battery to pump you up with energy and pump you up with that power and strength to be feisty and that fire of illumination for Christ. So there you have it. You are a true warrior for Christ, really, because God has blessed you with that the moment of conception. It's just a matter of you actually doing something about it. So I pray that you will continually be in good health and with confidence and faith in God. I know, yes, it's quarantine and social distancing, but we will meet again. We will meet again. That's why, like, if you're in that situation, just like, you know, you just want to meet that person that God's calling you to, just wait in person, because again, everyone loves to have things said to them in person. So therefore, just save everything in person. Just save the texting to in person, and honestly, it will be the most cherishable moments you can ever cherish in your life. So there you have it. Just stay fervent and confident in Christ. When God really placed a calling in your heart to a vocation, if that's marriage, and especially if you already know who that is, don't doubt it. Don't doubt it. Don't ever doubt it. Because when you doubt it, that's the enemy being like, yoo-hoo, are you sure about that? Yeah. So, you know, you're smart and you're confident, and just take it from there. And I will definitely see you tomorrow in my next video. And as I always love saying on my videos, don't be afraid to be true warriors of Christ.